Hello and welcome to the Mariana Dalto Show, the podcast where small business owners share their stories, insights, and strategies for success. I am your host, Mariana Dalto, and our guest today is Robin. She's a mentor, speaker, and founder of Our Connected World. Her mission is to help people around the world embrace a travel lifestyle without giving up work dreams or financial stability. Welcome, Robin, to the show.
Thank you so much for having me, Mariana.
I'm so excited to listen all the goodies and all the experience that you have around the world and how you help people. So thank you for joining us. So tell us a little bit about your background and what inspired you to become a business owner.
Yeah, so as you kind of already mentioned, I've been moving a lot in my life. And part of my journey was kind of figuring out what I wanted to do career-wise. I studied psychology. I've always had this like focus on, people and, how we think. And I'm a bit of a brain nerd in that sense. And then, student jobs, like different jobs in life, have brought me to then going more into business, development and marketing. So that's kind of where I ended up. And during COVID, I started to, obviously I wasn't traveling. And so I started to really realize how much I was missing traveling and talking to people and bringing other people's stories alive. And so I had a podcast for about a year. I was interviewing people around the world, and a lot of them were also entrepreneurs. And I had to hear about all their projects and fun stuff. And so I started to think, oh my God, like, what if I can explore this further than just the podcast? And so I started to, just go into my passions, because that's kind of like, what I was hearing. People were so happy to do what they were doing. And I was like, I also want to do something. And I don't want to have to keep on, having to go through, I don't know, 5 stages of approval, how it is sometimes in corporate. And so I threw myself in it, started off with language courses, and then expanded into helping people travel more also by having an online career.
Very nice. So tell us a little bit more about your journey starting Our Connected World, because now you went very specific now on one specific, business, right? You started with different things, but then that's now your baby, your business. So tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so Our Connected World was born with the idea of, again, after traveling so much and living in multiple countries, I've always felt like there's, first of all, so much in the world to see, and I wish for everybody to be able to have some sort of experience around the world at least once in their lifetime. And I hope for people to create flexibility that allows that kind of lifestyle, because I think there's so much to learn and see and discover. And most importantly, it was the connection or connecting part of things. That's why it's also in my brand name. It's, connecting with people, with places. And so at the beginning, I was just trying to figure out, okay, how can I help others do that? And obviously, like, I speak different languages, and that was a big part of my story. And so that's why the language immersion and teaching people how to speak Spanish, Italian was important, because I think that way you can travel better. You can like really immerse yourself in
You
places.
can communicate better. You can
You can
meet more,
communicate,
be more
yeah.
comfortable meeting people.
Exactly, yeah, and not have like, that blocker. And also I think it's a good career move as well. I mean, if I think about a lot of the opportunities I've had in life, it wasn't because I'm originally Italian, right? So Italian is my first language, but studying abroad and really working on, English, but even German also gave me a lot of opportunities work-wise. So I think it really opens a lot of doors. And then, working with clients, of course, who are very into traveling, moving around, and this career aspect in a way too, because some of them wanted to also work in different languages. That's kind of what opened my mind to, wait, maybe there's even more I can help with. And that's why, after also, my own journey as an entrepreneur, learning a lot, doing a lot of courses, expanding the knowledge I had in business development and marketing. That's kind of when I started feeling more also secure. Okay, I think I can help others who, are at step 0 right now with this and transitioning to location independent lifestyle. And so that's how I ended up doing what I do now. It's, lots of education. I'm a big believer that education is power. And so I do a lot of that with digital courses and so on. And then of course, mentoring, because I think this kind of lifestyle brings a lot of change. People who are in, these stages where they want to whether change a career, move abroad, travel more, whatever it is, it's really about navigating change, which also is a lot
It's
of
huge.
mindset
Yeah.
work. It's huge. Yeah,
Yes.
100%.
Yeah. So what were the biggest challenges you faced when starting your business?
Oh, there's definitely a
I'm
lot
sure it
there.
wasn't many of those, so you're gonna have to pick one.
Yes. I think a big one, and I think it's also something that can come here and there throughout the journey as an entrepreneur, is imposter syndrome.
Mhm.
And it's kind of funny because, like, especially when, I kind of also help others fight that for themselves. But again, it's similar to also marketing your own business. I'm a marketer. It's so much clarity when it comes to other businesses and consulting to other businesses. But to me, like I had to do so much more work, right? And that's the same for some mindset blockers, like imposter syndrome. I knew I could identify it was imposter syndrome, but I had to work so much on, even finding routines in my day or finding techniques to fight it when I felt I was having it. It was new because I feel like you can have imposter syndrome also, in other things. But because it's also your baby and in a way it's a bit more personal when it's your business, I feel like it feels worse. I don't know how to put it. And
Yeah, I
so
mean, a lot of business owners really feel that. It's just like you cannot be a business owner and don't feel that. It's just like that's if you're starting a business, just listen, listeners. If you're starting a business, you're gonna go through that. So don't worry. It's one of the steps that you go through in the journey.
yeah, and you said it right. I think like also knowing that it's normal and kind of acknowledging that this exists, and it's just about, again, shifting your mindset, what we were saying before, right? There's I feel like I've done so much, personal growth work. And I think I was already into mindfulness and doing mindfulness activities, but I feel like as an entrepreneur, I had to double down on it because you're the captain of the ship in a way, right? And it's beautiful, but it also comes with some more challenges, such as having sometimes to doubt yourself even though you don't want to. And I think what really helped me was, first of all, bringing more journaling in my routine.
Oh, yes, that's
um,
huge. Hmm.
yeah, like reflections, um, doing also like what I'm grateful for. That really helped me because when I'm in the imposter syndrome mindset, I see like everything I do wrong or I think I'm doing wrong. And then by doing what I'm grateful for, what I'm excited about, thinking about my
Yeah, you
successes,
shift your thinking to positive
that's it.
thinking,
Yeah.
positive thoughts. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
huge.
exactly.
Yeah.
And you realize, because it's like we've all achieved so much in our lives, no matter what,
Hmm.
right? And sometimes we focus on what's not working instead of what worked or is working. And so having that moment of reflection to really ground you, you realize, hey, wait a second, okay, I've got this. And so because I've got this, I can, fix if there's a problem, you fix it. If there's, if it's just a mindset moment where you're like, oh my God, I'm doing everything wrong, but it's all in your head, you kind of realize it and you're like,
It's only, yeah, it's exactly, it's in your head. And the other thing is like when you're a solo entrepreneur, like you're just the only person in your business. You don't have anyone else to talk to unless you have a coach. So then your negative thoughts go crazy. So that you
oh
really,
yeah.
really need to stop, like use the different techniques to change your mindset for positive thinking. That's for sure. Well, thanks for sharing that, because yeah, this is something that everyone experiences, including myself. So tell us a little bit about um, some common challenges that your clients face, and how do you help them tackle those? Because I mean, from the different things that you help them, I'm sure there's like the typical 2 3 challenges that comes up all the time, and you're like, okay, I know this is coming, like the imposter syndrome, but I know what else is coming within your clients that you can help them.
Yeah, for sure. I think, for the majority of my clients, when they come to me, I think they are a bit lost in that sense. Like in the sense of they're going through changes and there's this fog in front of them. They don't exactly know what the right path is for them. And I think that kind of also, mindset block and so on comes also with thinking that this fog is, because of them, when in reality, sometimes it's also just they haven't taken the time to think about what they truly want. And they've given a lot of weight to what people around them think they should do instead of
Oh,
thinking.
yes.
And that really can create that fog. And it is very common. And when you're changing, I think also nowadays you have so many options often, right? Which is great, but sometimes it can be so overwhelming. And so I usually like help my clients, again, I say with a machete, really like cutting through that fog by working very deeply on, what they want, and then working on career parts. So what they want to do, what they love to do, but also what they can be paid for, what fits the lifestyle they want to have. And a big reminder I always give them, especially in this first stage of, changing and transitioning to, whether it's online income or transitioning to a new country with a different job. I always tell them, like, I think sometimes we fear when we have this fog that, I mean, we don't know what's beyond that fog, right? We have this unknown, which already gives fear. Like, it's very, very fearful to not know what's going to happen. But I think like a big blocker with that is also that you think that that next step you're taking, it's gonna like define your entire life, like until you're like 100 years old. And that, oh my God, if I make that one wrong decision, then it's all going downhill and it's all written in stone. And the reality is that a lot of things in life are don't have that consequence, right? Like there's some, like murdering somebody, but there's some, but there's so much that it isn't. It's just going to be an experience. It's just a learning that you're going to have. And sometimes we get really overwhelmed thinking, oh my God, is this good in 10 years' time? And I know maybe this is a bit controversial, but sometimes I'm like, I don't think it's always healthy to think that much ahead, because we generally cannot control a lot of the factors that will influence our life in 10 years' time.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, what were you doing 10 years, ago? And then what do you want to do now? And what's making you shift and do something different? What is it that is like clicking right now? That's like, okay, maybe there's something else that I want to explore, right?
Exactly. And so by thinking also a bit more short term and be like, okay, what do you want now? You help clearing up a bit of the fog, because then you don't get this anxiety of like, oh my God, like this is going to be written in stone and there's no going back. I always say like life is never a straight line. Like career isn't a straight line, life isn't a straight line. And it's more of this like, points that create this whatever shape it ends up being, right? And like I always give the metaphor, it's like a tree and you have like all these different branches, and at the end of the day, it's like, a beautiful tree, but there's nothing that you cannot fix. There's nothing you cannot change. Like, especially when you talk about career and travel, you can go abroad, try to do like a gap year for a year. You like it, you don't like it, you've learned something. I feel like there's never like a lose when you do something like that. You try, for example, for me, I went into business and marketing because I felt like I was liking it. I've always liked this art and science that marketing has. And of course there's psychology into it as well, but I didn't know, like, I kind of ended up there and tried it, and then ended up really liking it, right?
Yeah. So you gotta try, you gotta take
You gotta try.
action on the things that you think that you like, and then that will give you the answer. Okay, I'm in the right path, or maybe no, I need to shift something because this is not exactly what I thought it would be, right?
Exactly. And sometimes you meet people, certain experiences will bring you to the next point that creates this,
Mm-hmm.
path for your life. And I think by giving it less also anxiety in a way to think about the next step, it comes a bit more easy. And I think actually travel teaches you a lot of that, because I think when you travel, especially, let's say you have like a longer time to travel, and so you're not necessarily on a schedule, you can be a bit more spontaneous. You deal with like random things that happen last minute. Like again, booking accommodation, we were chatting about it before the episode, right? Booking accommodation a bit more last minute, but sometimes it's good because sometimes you meet somebody and then you're gonna end up going somewhere else, maybe a different hostel, maybe you book an Airbnb with a bunch of people you get along with. And somebody's like, oh, do you want to do this today? And you're like, sure. And you try it. And I think like travel in a way really helps with opening that mindset towards new experiences, embracing more the unknown, and an understanding that there's a lot of learning with, what you choose to do more than, oh my God, like I'll never, I'm gonna do this wrong and oh my God, this is the end of it. I'm gonna be unhappy forever or something like that. That's a really bad feeling to have.
So do you have like a framework or a challenge or something that you guide them through so then they can go through that fog and that confusion and overwhelm? Like, okay, maybe if I follow these steps that Robin shares, then I can kind of have a better understanding of where I'm standing and where I think I want to go.
Yeah, I actually created like 5-day, I call it challenge because I like the word challenge because I think it puts in a mindset of okay, like I'm just, I have 5 days, I'm gonna give it, a bit of every day, 5 minutes, 10 minutes a day, I'm gonna give it to this activity. So and it goes through really understanding what you want to do, especially if you want to have an online business. I think there's a lot of foundational work that you need to do, and this challenge is there to help you reflect on all the main foundational points that you need in order to understand where you want to go and where you want to go also as a business owner.
Okay, so do you have strategies that you use to help clients balance work and travel effectively? Because I mean, do they when they work with you or when they're trying to do this, they're still working probably, they didn't stop working, right? So do you have strategies how to can help them balance that
Yeah,
work and yeah?
I have both. I have clients who are transitioning and clients who are already in that lifestyle, but I have to say, usually both. This is a big topic for both. And even for people who've been on the road for longer, it can still be a struggle. Um, Even for me, like I had to really find what works for me. So I think first thing I would say, and is trying things out because we're all very different, how we are productive, how we even like organize our own tasks and work for the day. Things that I find are very helpful in general is whether digital or, paper wise, have something to organize your week and organize your day. As an online business owner, I think it's very important to, for me, like really organize that. I work mostly like Monday to Thursday and organize it in blocks. So even, for example, calls, I take calls usually, 2 days of the week. Then I have at least one day for admin tasks. And so really for me personally, categorizing by type of job or type of task helps me. And then I have a very solid morning and like evening routine that just helps me be productive. So for me, it's very important to move. I don't know if I have ADHD. I don't think so, but I'm on the spectrum somewhere because I can't even sit still. Yeah, I'm somewhere there for sure. And so for me, it's very important. I have to take the walks while I work. I have to, stand and have kind of an area, wherever I am, just having an area which is my working area away from my non-working area is very important. So sometimes it's just a little desk in a hotel room or a whatever in an Airbnb. And then, the balcony is where I hang out and do my Pilates or whatever it is, right? But really finding that foundational parts of the routine that, you can easily do. Like most of the tasks you can probably do wherever you are. And finding what really grounds you and really helps you be focused and, relax and stay in a good mindset for the day is important. And make sure you do it time block. Even sometimes, like I used to do it, now I feel like I'm so much in the habit I don't do it as much. But I used to really have like blockers in my calendars, like notification also for my own self-care, a notification of like the type of task I wanted to do, like I don't know, email stuff, and then I would like have 1 hour for that or something. So that really helps at the beginning until you find your balance. And then tech. I think tech is very important when you're like traveling and working. I personally have a lot of wireless stuff. So I have a wireless mouse, a wireless keyboard as well for my tablet. If I can bring the computer, I'll bring it. But sometimes I need to be a bit more, travel light. And so I just have my tablet with the keyboard and the mouse and then a little light. For example, now I'm in a darker corner, so hopefully this light is helping having some sort of light on my face. So you never know, and they're like very tiny, like very easy to bring. and a tripod as well. You never know, like creating content as an online business owner is important. The tripod I have, for example, has a little remote control. So you can be like away and be like, if you're solo, I think, or solo traveling, I think that's pretty cool, because then, you can like use the remote to action the video or the photo. And so, yeah, use tech to help you with what you can. And
Which that's
really,
another roadblock for a lot of people, the tech piece, right? Like some people like, some are good, but some are like, oh, I don't even know how to start. What kind of software? Like that's one of the big overwhelm that
yeah,
people
I think
face.
also because there's a lot of options, right?
Oh, yes.
And there's a lot of even like ads out there. Like today, for example, I got a lot of like credit card business ads for some reason. And like, you swipe one and then you get like 10 more and you're like, oh my God, there's so, like, I didn't even know like half of them existed. And I was like, oh my God. I mean, I didn't need it, so I didn't look into it, but I can imagine if you're like, with the algorithm, like you're getting even more of that and you're like, which one is the right choice for me? So again, sometimes even asking people who have that experience can really help narrowing down, because I think the world we live in, you need to narrow down more than anything sometimes, because I mean, the internet gives you access to everything, right?
Oh, yes. You gotta be very disciplined to make sure that you protect your time. In my case, I batch the work that I do. So for me, it helps me like, every 2 hours I batch work, or so then I'm more focused and really get more things done than if you're jumping from one thing to the other every half hour, right? So the more you can batch the work, the easier and the more productive you get. So from a marketing standpoint, what are some strategies that you particularly use that were effective for you that maybe you can share with small business owners?
So for me, it's really been about content creation. I think really narrowing down and simplifying. So I'm gonna say both. I think really narrowing down the content that works, and even like the content strategy. Again, this also goes a bit back into what works for you, because especially at the beginning, I always suggest choose one platform and really like master it, right? And at first, you always have a bit of trial and error, what people resonate with. If you're at the very beginning, you also need to understand a bit more your client. And so, really giving your time to research that, gain more data around it is important. And for me, yeah, there was a lot of trial and error. And obviously, like, when I moved from language to, transitioning to online career, that was a pivot again. And so I had to adjust my content. But yeah, I think like a challenge I had back in the days, and so I want to tell people is, don't spread yourself too thin. And what helps to not spread yourself too thin is to simplify. So maybe don't have, like 30 lead magnets slash, 30 ways, 30 funnels or something. Don't have 5 social platforms you have to post content on. Also, because some you can repurpose, but then you also have the peculiarity of the social platform, which means you have to, have the time to give the right content to the right platform. And so, yeah, I did a big work of that, because especially I feel like lots of entrepreneurs like myself are multi-passionate, have a lot of ideas, right? We have a bit of this monkey mind as well. And so really taking that step back and like also in a way, which is always hard, take a step back from taking it personal and really like pretend you are a consultant of your own business, which sometimes is hard because you get excited about things and like it's your baby. It's not easy. But if you cannot outsource certain things, then it's on you to like take that step back and really try to understand what's working, what's not working, and concentrate your energy on what's working. And really, for content, I think everybody nowadays needs to do it in one way or the other. So really find the content that you're excited to do and you don't mind developing, and that keeps you creative in a way too. I think that's very important.
And also that'll help you like keep like building that road and what is it that you like and you don't, right? Like when you start creating the content, you realize I love this more than other content. That means maybe I should shift a little bit my business the other way because whatever, I don't like this part of it, right? So and again, we go back to take action. And when you take action, you get more clarity and the fog goes away.
That's exactly it. You said it.
It's like it's a circle. Well, thank you so much for all these insights, Robin. It's been really a pleasure having you in our show. Before we wrap up, could you please share where our listeners can learn more about you and your business?
Yeah, of course. So I hang out a lot on Instagram, talking about the one platform. So it's at Our Connected World. And then I also have a website, which is ourconnectedworld.ca, like Canada.
Excellent. And then you also had like some freebie resource that you want to share. Can you tell us a little more about that? I think I want to put that in the show notes, but maybe you want to share with the listeners what that is.
Yeah, so this is the 5-day business jumpstart. It really is like taking a few minutes every day for 5 days, so not that long. You can do it, and do some exercise, some reflection exercises to get you from, I don't know exactly what I want to do, or maybe you have half of an idea, but you don't know exactly where to bring it, to, okay, now I know what I want to do and how I can do it, and get a bit of clarity on that in 5 days.
Awesome. Excellent. Well, thank you so much, Robin, for joining us today. Thank you to our listeners for tuning in. We will add the websites and the resources that Robin shared today in the show notes. And don't forget to subscribe and leave a review if you enjoyed this episode. Thank you so much. Thank you, Robin.
Thank you, Mariana. It was a pleasure.
Bye. See you next time.